Proverbs 3 and verse 30. Moving right along here. This one I could spend a whole night preaching on, but I won't. Proverbs 3 and verse 30 says, "Strive not with a man without cause, if he have done thee no harm." So this is the Bible's version of what is called the non-aggression principle. In other words, you don't initiate violence on anybody, right? You don't strive with a man without cause if he's done you no harm. So if somebody hasn't harmed you, then you don't go start something with him, right? And that's what your parents teach you when from the time you're 2 years old. Don't start a fight with your brother or your sister or whatever, right? It seems like the people that run our country never learned that lesson as a child or something. We just go out there and start picking fights with everybody we meet. So we should never be the one who, quote, started it, right? Defending oneself is one thing, that's allowable, but aggressing against someone else is not. And this is true of individuals and it's true of nations, right? We should not be striving without cause, for no reason. Now, of course, there's always a reason, and the presented reason and the real reason are usually altogether different. Right? We're always spreading freedom and democracy and whatever. We're always the righteous, noble people that are helping everybody else out. What it really is drugs or oil or who knows what. The Taliban had pretty well taken care of the whole opium trade in Afghanistan until the U.S. goes over there in 2001 and opens that guy wide open again, and to where opium production is just clipping right along, as soon as they get over there and take care of that. So anyway, and oil and whatever other reasons. There's always all kinds of other real reasons why these things happen. But we should live peaceably with all men when it's possible to do so. Look at Romans 12 and verse 18. Romans 12 and verse 18. If it be possible, as much as lieth in you, live peaceably with all men. So peace is the ideal goal, right? We shouldn't want to have war, and I mean nationally or personally or whatever. That's not the goal. It's not to have continual confrontation. We should never be inserting ourselves in a confrontation that doesn't concern us. Look at Proverbs 26 and verse 17. And this goes nationally and personally, both. Proverbs 26 and verse 17. Because what happens is you ultimately end up harming yourself. Proverbs 26 and verse 17. It says, "He that passeth by and meddleth with strife belonging not to him is like one that taketh a dog by the ears." Now, you know what happens when you take a dog by the ears. If you reach out and grab a dog by his ears, what's he going to do? He's going to bite you, right? That's a stupid thing to do. Well, it's no more stupid than to walk by two people that are having a fight and saying, hey, let me help you guys out. Because they won't be fighting with each other anymore. They'll be fighting with you, right? And it's no less stupid for one nation to intervene in the affairs of another nation and be grabbing a dog by the ears. Ronald Reagan learned that lesson the hard way whenever he had troops over in Lebanon, and then they blew up the Marine barracks, and I think 200 and 300 and some of them were killed, and Reagan actually did the smart thing and got out, right? Then we haven't had anybody that had brains like that since, I don't think. But anyway, not a good idea to be taking the dog by the ears. Look at 1 Peter 3 and verse 1 Peter 4:15. And anytime you intervene, you always make things worse. Whether it's you're intervening in somebody else's fight or you're intervening in some other nation's problem with another nation, it always makes it worse. You think about it. I mean, any of these interventions that we've done, and since I don't know when, since the Korean War, have any of them made anything better? Right? I don't think so. Just leave chaos and mayhem behind us, pretty much.
We won a war
We haven't won a war. I haven't won a war since World War II. No, we really haven't. 1 Peter 4 and verse 15. But let none of you suffer as a murderer, or as a thief, or as an evildoer, or as a busybody in other men's matters. And just look at the guilt by association here. Most people would think, oh, you're a busybody. Yeah, you just kind of, you get meddle in other people's affairs, and you kind of, insert yourself places where you really have no business, letting your opinion be known or whatever. And, oh, that's not such a big deal. Well, I don't know. Peter says murderers, thieves, and evildoers are your bedfellows there. So next time you want to step in and meddle in somebody else's problems, you might want to think about that, because that's a pretty serious bunch of crimes that are listed together there. You want to make sure you have a good cause before you begin to strive with someone, or you will end up being brought to shame. Proverbs 25 and verse 8. Proverbs 25 and verse 8. Go not forth hastily to strive, lest thou know not what to do in the end thereof when thy neighbor hath put thee to shame. So if you are going to go fight, you better be ready, and physically or argue or whatever, you better be ready and know what's going to happen. When you post a video on Facebook, you better be ready, because it's going to come, and just don't do it and think, oh, nobody will say anything, and then you get barraged, and you're like, oh no, what do I do now? So, but you did a good job. You did well. And it's an honor to cease from strife, not to commence it. Right? Some people just love to fight, and I don't understand that, but it's not an honor to start fighting. It's an honor to stop. Proverbs 20 and verse 3. It is an honor for a man to cease from strife, but every fool will be meddling. He just has to keep picking. He just has to keep poking just to try to get somebody mad or keep them mad. And I think this is a good verse to memorize for married people. We've used this one in our house before. I've used this one before. I have said, it is an honor to cease from strife. And it's over. We are stopping. No more strife right now. We're not arguing about this anymore. It's an honor to cease from strife. Right? And that's the way to do it. That's the way to do it. And either husband or wife can do that. Both of them. It's an honor to cease from strife. Yep.
So do you only do that when it's in your favor?
Not necessarily. Usually when I do that, it's when we're just bickering about something stupid that doesn't really matter anyway, and it's just, okay, we're done. Honor to cease from strife. We're not talking about this anymore. If it's a serious issue and you need to hash it out, that's another thing. But yeah, petty things,